Hi everyone, Yacca here. So just recently we had a Masters Tour being resolved and PocketTrain won the Masters Tour, so congrats to him. And one of the, other than him being a complete utter crazy Boar Priest player, he also brought some other decks. Where one caught my eye with the big spell mage. It's something that I have been wanting to try out, and it's doing really great in the meta at the moment. So it's definitely a good deck for climbing, and there's some fun moments in there if you want to have like some random stuff, playing a lot of different spells that is randomly generating, all this kind of stuff. It's actually quite fun, and you can sway that somehow and really get some good results out of it. So with this deck that I'm gonna try out on ladder, it is the exact list that PocketTrain brought to the Masters Tour, and so far I'm just blasting through the ranks. It's completely fun, and I hope you enjoy it as well. I'll leave a deck code in the description. But let's talk about the Mulligan Strategy, and then I have a bit of gameplay for you, which is kind of interesting. While we are heading into the matchups and Mulligan Strategy for the deck, I'd just like to say that I would appreciate if you like what you see, do like, comment if you have any suggestions or questions, and a follow would also be deeply appreciated. With out of the way, let's talk about the matchups. So which archetypes are you really good at encountering, and which are really bad for you? And honestly speaking, from the stats perspective, it's really only one deck that you're struggling with, and I wouldn't even say it's that bad. And that is Murloc Shaman, the aggressive variant, because it takes a little bit of time for you to actually get rolling on the board. But then you do have some catch up, you have some heal mechanics through getting Deepwater Evoker, and then you have some good board control tools. So it's really, that's the worst one at the moment for you. So it's a really solid and well-rounded deck with no real drawbacks in the meta at the moment. With that said, let's have a look at the Mulligan. What you really want to do usually is just get the low-cost cards. Many people have already sorted this out, so the Mulligan Strategy, I can see people are keeping the right things. There's no really pit traps there. But there are something that you need to consider. The really important card that you always keep against all matchups are Mulligan Stonehearth. Mulligan Stonehearth is the highest win rate card. If you keep it in the Mulligan, you always want to keep that. That's by far the highest one. Then you also want to keep, because you want to disrupt the early turns, as you do not have that many early tools, your Firewatch Post, your Pelican Diver, and also your Deepwater Evokers to get a lot of armor early on. So that's usually what you want to do. One thing about Amplified Snow Flurry, it's actually quite far down the Mulligan win rate, but I do see that from the stats that people are really overkeeping this one. So it's really a lot better to get in the late game, and I definitely see why, because if you drop this on 2, sure, you have a 2-3 minion, but you don't really need the damage right at that point in time. What you really would like out of the Amplified Snow Flurry is the effect. And you are probably forced, if you're up against some weaker boards, to use your hero power. So the freezing effect of the Snow Flurry is definitely a lot better in the late game. Definitely consider not keeping the Amplified Snow Flurry in the starting hand. So definitely go for something else there. Also, regarding Barbaric Sorceress, it seems like that's in the middle of the pack, but people are keeping it a lot. And I do see the point of it, because that's a really powerful card. For instance, if you drop your Mailbox Dancer, you trade it in, you get the coin to your opponent, and then you get a 0 mana spell, either the Drakefire Amulet or Ruin the Archmage. That's really the power play. But that's usually something that you set up in the mid game, hoping for this like a massive swing, and you also get to see a point of that in the gameplay section. But then again, this the way I remember the game, that I'm at least then I'm actually not sure if I get this one off in the gameplay section, but it is definitely powerful. I've tried it before, getting like a 0 mana Rune of the Archmage, and that feels amazing. But it is towards the mid game, so you want to get your early game stuff sorted. So consider throwing this one back if you do not have some other things like the ones that I just talked about. And there's a specific keep. So this is what you want to do against more or less all classes, except for one, and that is against the Shaman. Probably the Murloc Shaman, but you don't know which Shaman archetype you're up against when you're on the ladder, of course. But what you also want to keep against Shaman is your Spammy Arcanist. That is definitely a very good way to get rid of some of the Murlocs. Of course, there is the challenge if you are up against the Murloc and they've started to buff the health of the Murlocs, then you are quite frankly in a rough spot. But Spammy Arcanist might get you to pull this back. For instance, if you're smothering Starfish into a Spammy Arcanist, something like that. So it gives you the possibility to come back, and that's actually quite high in the Mulligan win rate. So if you do keep the Spammy Arcanist against the Shaman. But that's the only exception to the rules that I just mentioned. Summing it up before we head into the gameplay, you want your Pelican, Firewatch Post, Mailbox Dancers, and definitely your Belinda Stonehearth. That's the most important one. I think that's enough said. If you do have questions around the deck, the Mulligan, whatever, if there's something I haven't covered, feel free to drop a comment and I'll revert back to you as soon as I see it. But I think we should head on into the gameplay section, where I will actually try and showcase you where I do at some point have an option to drop Rune of the Archmage to maybe get back. But through some reasoning, I end up seeing a different line, which potentially I did drop the Rune of the Archmage, but actually ends up with me winning the game, instead of just taking the flashy play of just dropping the rune. Stay tuned for it, and let's have a look at some gameplay.
Queen Ashara versus Randa.
Stay back, you monster! You will not
Right.
deny me again.
So it's either this one's going back, and also the treasure guard. Pelican Dive I can keep it. Belinda is definitely a keep. But it's either priest. With priest, it's either boar or quest. It's not quest, so it's probably boar. And this one is pretty amazing.
My blood boils for war.
Of course, it could also be Wick. Of course, it's Wick. So 1, 2, 3. Right, so I'm dropping that one. I kind of want to go for the watch post, but he would just be able to value trade it if he has a Wick. He kept the cards, and likely it is. Isn't it like you might as well get the damage hit? You're not gonna get anything out of the hero power. What is a little bit annoying here is that I need to ping it. I think that is worth it to get it off the board. Also because he can continue using the wigs. So now he needs to develop some kind of minion.
My blood
He
boils
does that.
for war.
I'm glad that we do have 2 smothering starfish in here. I guess I kind of need to go for this one. He's just gonna be able to wig that one again.
The Queen's trove is forbidden.
Well, this one is not readily answerable with just the 1 wig. Gets close. There's another one. Uh-oh. Oh, it's that one. Sorry. He was able to actually answer it. I have some power plays coming up, but a little bit away. So what could be good would be, well, actually maybe Warden just to freeze them. Is that better than that one ping? I think it might be actually. And then we can Belinda on the next turn. He can't pop off like insanely yet. And then like a rune of the Archmage into like Mars Polymorph would probably be a good thing.
Sorry, Squishy, I'm working.
I'll be able to answer that one. We're getting into some really dangerous space here.
Tell me, Minnow, have you done what I asked?
Yeah, then it's Lady Vash, then I need to figure out a way to get rid of. Oh, and Bliss. Yeah, could we find like a smothering starfish? That would be amazing, thank you. Oh, jeez. Ah, no starfish. Can I do anything with the spammy? No, not really, right? 15.
A conundrum.
20. So I'm not dead on board. But we are getting pretty close to it. Yeah, I have to gamble and do this. And rune. The rune has to save me somehow. So I can do some kind of value trade, but let's see. It's down to 2 cards. So you're like, what's that? Ah, yeah. Yeah, so we're down to some random stuff that needs to bail us out. That is too late, right? 1, 3, 2, 2, 5, 5. So I think we do need to rune and hope that we clear. So 1, 3, 6, 7, 5. That's actually 12. That is survivable. And then what, on the next turn we could do something?
Such choices.
So we drop this one to try and set it up. This one, and this one. And then he can't.
Time is short.
Oh, I think that's the more proper play because the other one we are dead. It really depends on his last couple of cards there. I do have like Spell Mage Yacca is clear now, which is actually always the play to go for now, because then he doesn't have anything on board. Wow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Well, we are kind of making it work. And ping. And let's see what he drops. There's no direct damage. So again, unfortunately, I have to. Well, I can. If he drops a 1/1, then I can ping and Drakefire. We are kind of turning it around now. What can he do? He's gonna buff that one. Whisper Deep, so he's gonna clear my stuff. So it might actually need to be rune, like, or else I can Magister. Is that enough? I don't think it is, right? Like 5, 6, 7. I go to 7 and I can't do anything else than that. Drakefire, I need to opt in to get a taunt. I think it's more reasonable to get his stuff removed. Oh, it's Rune of the Archmage. Let's see the animations here. That's good. 4/3 would have been better. Rune Orb. Okay, Flurry is good. Okay, nice. Okay. Got that sorted. So now we can drop this one and ping, I guess. There we go. He has no burst the way I remember the deck, so he needs to get something to stick, and that's going to be really difficult.
Anybody?
I really want to get my Drakefire.
Pick me! Pick me!
Thrive in the Shadows. He's gonna draw for the other wig. And I think with the number of spells that he has, it's gonna be guaranteed. Yeah, he can't play the wig because it's not activated. I think there's a world where we got this even though we are immensely behind on life. So I can do this one, then that clears. But then I can't do Dawn Grasp, but then I can do the Drakefire. Just to make sure, that's 3. Actually, this is not, even though I could trade this one back and draw. Should be no way that he can outlast me this way. That's no, shouldn't be any way for him to actually get. I kind of want to get this one, but it's a taunt. Yeah, I guess spell damage is a little bit more worth it.
So generous.
But is it lethal now? I think we are there. 11, 15, yeah, we're there.
Fabric fit for Her Majesty.
Even though that we were on 2 life, that was enough. Desperation. I'll heal you. Thank you very much. Nice one.